So one of the things that I really love about history is that you don't necessarily have to dig into a book or go to a museum in order to learn or appreciate history. Even though I love both of those things. I love books and I love museums. Sometimes you can find history in little obscure places like this. This is the location of an old civilian conservation corps camp from the 1930s. And I've been back here before, and there's some pretty cool old structures, or the remains of structures, that I'm going to kind of walk around and look at. I think that it's safe to assume that this might have been an old outhouse, I'm guessing. Okay, so if you don't know much about the CCC, or the Civilian Conservation Corps, what the CCC was a New Deal program that was created in 1933 that was part of FDR's relief, recovery, and reform to get the nation out of the Great Depression. So the CCC would have been the relief part. It was a program that was designed to put young men to work doing, as the name implies, conservation projects. So they would work on soil erosion, they would build fire towers, they would build fire breaks. The biggest thing that they did was plant trees. I think their nickname was Roosevelt's Tree Army. And I think over the course of the 9 years that they were in operation, there were 3 million young men that got put to work on different CCC projects. And here is some old structure right here. So I'm not exactly sure what this would have been. Interesting. Doesn't look like a very large building. So goofy me, I walked right by this old map that tells the layout for Merrimack State Forest Camp, CCC, Company 2728. And this is really dirty. Yeah, you can kind of see what the original camp looked like there. And then here's the layout. So you have these different barracks buildings. And then the highway behind me, I guess, was called the Reedville Trail. Mess hall. There's like a tool shed there. Forestry garage and blacksmith shop. Okay. Different cabins. I guess I'll walk up here and see if I can identify what any of these old structures were. All right, so according to that map that I just looked at, this is the old wash house. So none of the barracks would have had their own indoor plumbing. And if you wanted to take a shower and get cleaned up, well, then you would come over here. And here is some sort of pit. Interesting. There's some sort of plumbing down in there. So I'm not exactly sure what this pit would have been for. Okay, so this is the wash house. Okay, so I found out what this structure right here that I looked at just a minute ago actually was. And you can see where it's actually a little bit bigger than I thought. This would have been the mess hall. So this is where they would have come to eat their meals. Man, this is slowly being reclaimed by nature, which, I mean, looks kind of cool. And this, I'm going to guess, was the stove or fireplace, maybe. Got these old metal grates that are almost rusted away now. Interesting. Now, whenever the CCC was started, they, you got a bunch of young guys. They need some organization, they need some leadership, they need some direction. So what they ended up doing, as far as their organization, is they got reserve officers from the Army to basically lead each company of the CCC. And this is pretty neat right here. This is the remains of some of the officers' quarters. Pretty cool. And it looks like somebody had their $5 lunch down here and left their trash. Come on, people. We can do better than that. I had a blizzard too. All right, well, whenever I come back by here, I'll pick up somebody else's trash and put it away. Very neat though. So this looks kind of cool. This is a big old giant well. So with housing as many of these CCC guys, obviously needed a source of clean water, so they would have to dig a well wherever they set up the camp. And it looks like some sort of support structure here. It was set in concrete and has long since fallen over. This is where they would have had a little water tower. You can see some of the supporting structures right here. So, 4 little small pillars. And right here where I'm standing, oh, here you can see this little pipe right here. It would have gone down into the ground, so they would have a holding tank for water here. Location site of a cabin. Love this old fireplace. The stonework there. Well, I've come down here into the woods, kind of off of the path a little bit, trying to find some of these old barracks. And I haven't been able to locate them, but I am finding a lot of evidence of where they were. I found quite a few of these old stovepipes here. These spider webs are about to drive me insane. Yeah, here's a few more remains of the stovepipes that had to be from the barracks This is just down the hill from the mess hall. I see another one right over here. And it looks like maybe this was an old road. I don't know. Well, I did a fairly decent grid search down there, or at least what I consider to be a fairly decent search, trying to find some of those old barracks. But all I really found as far as any evidence were those old stovepipes. So it could be that over the past 70 to 80 years, nature's just reclaimed that area, or maybe there wasn't much there to begin with as far as the barracks were concerned. So pretty cool place though. The CCC program was, in my opinion, a good thing. Yeah, it was a government relief program, but what I like about it is that it's a government program where people actually went to work. Okay, so they earned their pay and had the pride and the dignity of, you know, a hard day's work. And they didn't get much either. They worked for $1 a day, which, you know, $30 a month today, that would be about the equivalent to $580, $600 a month. But during the time of the worst economic crisis that the U.S. has ever seen, even a little bit went a long way. And out of that $30, $25 had to be sent back to their families to help out. I guess because young men are stupid and they will spend their money on stupid stuff. Now, the CCC program came to an end in 1942 because there was no longer a need for it. Because the U.S. got one of the greatest job creation programs in history, thanks to Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, and the Empire of Japan. So World War II had started in 1941, and everybody went to work in the military. But up until that point, the CCC put a lot of guys to work. And this is evidence that it happened, and that one of those camps was right here. And these are all over the United States. So you can probably find these any number of different places. Pretty cool place.